Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading session. I'm glad everybody found the room. I apologize for the inconvenience in switching up the links. There's a little flaw in the webinar software we use. It doesn't notify you when you're winding down in webinars. So even though we had like 100 webinars set up, we didn't realize that we were at the last one the other day. There was no warning. So poor Adam had to go rebuild them all. And of course that requires a new link. So my apologies, but we'll be filling out the feedback form at the website soon. All right, so we just had the markets open up here. Pretty much taking over from where they left off, even though the overnight had a little bit of a swing to it. So the markets finished up here around the 47.20 mark. The Asian session saw a little bit of a dip, and the European session a little bit of a recovery, and here we are once more. Oh dear, I should have gone on this a little earlier. We had our first eagle signal in sync, and we've been following that a little bit. To see if the buyers are following through off that first signal. Well, it looks like we're going to get another opportunity here in the hawk, perhaps as we're generating a first micro-macro cross. No, that's going to run away on me too. Or is it? Getting a little bit more of a retest now. I'm not sure the market's going to be overly bullish. After all, we are more or less in a downtrend at the moment. I'm looking at the other charts and I'm getting some signals moving on me. All right, let's see if we can't do one of those. So this is now our trend change signal here on the Falcon. So the trend line's gone from red to green. We've got this little leg higher that changed the trend line color, then the reversal as the sellers try to recapture the downtrend, and then we come back here now with a buy signal. may be getting corresponding signals here as well. Oh, wait a second, I'm going to come back to this, because I'm going to try to run this one out. If we get filled here, I'm going to delete my profit objective. I see we're getting a similar signal on the Raptor as well as the Hawk. So a few things looking a little bit bullish here at the moment. And I'm letting the market run out, or attempting to let the market run out, because it's the first signal of the day. Very often we'll see some initial momentum off that first signal, I hope. Come on. I imagine this 4730 area, given that it's a fairly even number, and a number that saw a fair amount of activity toward the end of yesterday's trading, is going to prove to be a little bit of an obstacle here. But if we can get above 4730, we've got a little bit of room here. Alright, so I'm looking for another rally to come back in here to give me a chance to roll my stops. All right, come on, buyers. Yeah, there's not much going on here at the moment, Moses. Is anybody else having difficulty with their audio? Moses says, I've got no audio. Can I get a sound check, please? Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so what we're seeing here is we're seeing the market hold, oops, coming back down here to this trend line. And we should see a little bit of a bounce, I'm hoping. Or not. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Things are not shaping up the way they're supposed to be. That was a rather deep break. Not what I wanted to see. All right, here come the buyers again, trying to push the market up. We'll see whether or not they can recover the trend that they started this morning. Shoot. No, they're going to tap me out here. Doggone it. Boy, there's going to be some fancy footwork on the part of the Bulls if they manage to pull this off. come the bears. They're just going to be a little bit too strong. I was hoping I'd see more of a reaction here where that trend line was sitting. That would have given me an opportunity to adjust my stops a little bit. I'm going to get tapped here in a second, so I'm watching crude oil as well. They're kind of flip-flopping a little. Here's crude oil. Now on the Eagle. So crude oil in a little bit of a slide yesterday, kind of moving sideways through the remainder of the morning session and trying to give us a trend change. So this may well be a test of this extreme, a retest of the low, and maybe another push higher. They do seem a little conflicted at the moment. Last ditch effort on the part of the buyers now. Might see a rally back up here to the 47.23.24 area. Just kind of eyeballing it. I think that was more or less where my trend line was falling. No. Nope. Couldn't hold on long enough. Just made a couple notes in my journal. Well, don't like starting the day in the hole, but oh well. That's what I did. just gotta hang out here. We're back now into the hard edge, of course. Just trying to get our bearings into the hard edge here on the eagle. Looking for a little bit of a bounce, perhaps. The bears are stepping up. Now, normally, if the market is not paying off to the upside, we should be concentrating on short signals. Because if they're not prepared to go higher, there's a good chance that they're going to be prepared to go lower. So here on the hawk, we actually just passed a 4-arrow consolidation signal. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 arrows. This is the post-consolidation pattern. I actually don't focus on that one a whole lot, but it is one of our high probability signals. All right, I'm going to see if I can run this one out. The problem is we're back toward the lows of the morning. So listen, folks, if you're looking for trades to mirror, this may not be your strongest signal of the day. I'm basing a short here on the fact that we didn't have very much follow through to the upside, but there's every possibility we may be entering a sideways trading range. A very big sideways trading range. Let's take a look here at the eagle. It may define it a little better. Nope, not yet. Okay, so in fact this hawk trade retreating a little bit, so we'll close that out and we'll look for another opportunity here. Might be getting a cloud crossover signal here in the Raptor for you Raptor traders. Cloud crossover. When the clouds cross over, we expect the market to retreat into the cloud and then for the cloud to bounce the market back out. Well, welcome, Daniel. Daniel says, my first day and the first trade starts down. Hope that's not a sign. Daniel, we do our best, but even with very sophisticated tools like the DTS system here, there will still be the odd losing trade. That's why we focus so much on the trade manager tool to cap our risk exposure so that when we do take a losing trade, we don't blow ourselves up. Oh, right. Thanks, Keith. Keith says factory orders and ISM non-manufacturing news in 3 minutes at the top of the hour. You know, Daniel, that's a good way to look at it. Dan writes, I'm excited about this journey, and it is a journey. I'm not sure if you ever finally reach that destination. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and it seems like every day you learn something. So please don't be shy about asking questions or requesting markets. I'll do my best to answer your questions for you. All right, so this macro pullback here got spoiled by the yellow bar, as did the late filter entry signal got spoiled here. A little bit late on my signals this morning. We did get that cloud crossover signal here on the Raptor, and we're probably going to see the market tail off from here. Doug, just try to get a second chance to get in there. Look at that block of orders that went through here on the Geiger counter before this disappears. Had a huge buying spike. Very little follow through on it though. Then a big sell spike. And now the sellers seem to have put on the brakes as well. Absolutely. Russell's asking, why wasn't the Falcon signal valid? Well, there's actually a couple Falcon signals that produced. So this is the first one. This is your trend change signal. This is a perfectly valid signal. Unfortunately, I was already stuck in a long signal, so I wasn't in a position to take that. The trend change signal, of course, occurs when the trend line changes color. We get this little down, up, down pattern, and you'll notice that the buyers were only able to muster a rally for a single bar. So your trend change signal came right here. That was a valid signal. If you missed that one, you got a trend line touch signal a few minutes later. After that, we were working a late filter entry signal. The late filter entry signal occurs when the filter goes out of sync and then comes back into sync. Ideally, the trend line should not change color. Here the trend line went out of sync, so it invalidated the late filter entry signal, even though the market did see a little bit of follow through from there. An ideal late filter entry signal looks like this. In fact, this one's almost textbook. The trend line starts to flatten out. The filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync, trend line never changes color. And even though the market spent a little bit of time going sideways here, there was every reason to believe that we would see a bullish follow through from that. Okay, so Russell's asking what about the trend change on the last one? Okay, the trend change signal has to have, let me go back a little bit so we can find something a little bit more textbook. Here we go. Okay, the trend change signal has two components. First off, the trend line has to change color. Then we have kind of the three legs of the trend change. So we have the leg that changes the trend line color. Then we need to see the original trend try to resume. And then we see the new trend take control. We didn't have that when this trend line came back into sync. We have the down portion, but we don't have any up portion. We don't have any buyers showing that the buying is trying to come back before the sellers knock them down again. That's what didn't make that a trend change signal. Now, as you become more familiar with the late filter entry signal, this guy right here, you'll recognize certain opportunities where if the market goes out of sync just for a bar or two, you may choose to ignore it. You may choose to ignore the fact that the trend line went out of sync, but only if it's out of sync for a bar or two. Anything more than that, you're starting to see a lot of shift in momentum. Now, this one probably went out of sync just because one of these two bars, or both of these bars, traded a tick too high. That was probably enough to change the parameters, which is why we got limited follow through here. I do believe it is enough follow through to hit our profit objective. If not, we should be rather close. Yeah. So it was enough to hit our profit target. But it wasn't a true trend change signal. If you don't have the cheat sheets yet downloaded from the website, you can email me as well, and I will get them to you. And here is the Falcon cheat sheet as soon as I find it. All right, so here's the Falcon cheat sheet, and it shows you, now this one actually developed a little bit late, but it's the only screenshot I had where everything was on one screen. You can see these bars here were trying to produce that green bar or green bars before the market came back and resumed the downtrend. But that's what we need. We need the leg that changes the trend line color. We need the counter move, and then we need the, in this case, the sellers to come back. Well, that's an interesting comment. Peter writes, good morning. Eric just read on the web saying amateurs trade in the morning and pros trade in the afternoon. Have you any thoughts on this? Well, I think it's a bunch of baloney. I'd love to know where you read that, because typically it's the owners, well, the owners, sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here. The pros are usually the ones that set the opening range. If you check the volume, um, let me see. I'll build a chart here, 1 second. And so we can see the volume that comes through the marketplace. And we'll go 24.5. Let's say we'll do a 5-minute chart. All right, so here is a 5-minute chart, and you can tell the opening bar or opening bars by the amount of volume that comes through here. All right, so here's the overnight, the European session, and so on. Not a whole lot going on in the North American markets, and of course that makes sense. So here is the start of the day, and look at all the volume that goes through. So let's go back to yesterday. And again, you can plainly see the start of the day because of the spike in volume. I seriously doubt that the amateurs can muster this kind of volume out of the open. Then things get a little bit quiet through the lunch hour, and then volume picks up again toward the close, which, you know, is to be expected. Day traders who have been short all day or most of the day, you can see a lot of them exited on this spike right here. For those of traders who were more conservative with their stops, they were quite happy to catch this run lower, and as soon as they saw this bar develop, they said, oops, that's enough, time to get out. And so they jam in their stops, the market retreats a little bit, before making another leg lower, and this is everybody getting out before the closing bell. Another similar example, so all the volume comes in the morning, that first hour of trading, everything gets quiet through the afternoon. Again, this big spike, everybody who was short caught that big move lower. They see this big spike come in, and all of a sudden everybody runs for the hills and exits their short positions. We'll just do one more. Big spike in the morning in volume. Things get quiet. Big spike in the afternoon just prior to the close. So, no, I don't think that's true. If you look at the order flow, it's quite obvious the amateur traders. Let me get the order flow here. Time and sales. Here we go. All right, so here's our little time and sales chart, and we'll add the NQ. Okay, so there's a block of 10. That's very likely either a professional trader or a pretty well-funded small speculator. But look at the bulk of these orders. They're one lots. Pros don't trade singles. If we watched this on the open, I guarantee you there were a lot of larger block orders coming through. But these are all amateurs. Amateur professional, or professional amateurs, I forget which way that goes. Um, yeah, I don't know. Stephen writes, I do believe the dark pool trades are made when the market closes, so what he said could be a bit true. You know, there's always traders trying to get ahead of the market, and the difference between the really big traders like the institutions and guys like us is the institutions have got a lot more information. They've got a lot more people to process the information. They can look at the market, 7 different ways from Sunday, as they say. That doesn't mean we need to have all that information as well. We can piggyback on their intel by, gauging what the market is doing, trying to get a handle on which way the trend is. There are clues, of course, to what the pros are up to. Typically, in the volume, if you watch where the volume is increasing, you'll usually get an indication of where the institutions are putting their money. Are they putting it on the long side or the short side? What are they doing? All right, I better start paying attention here because I just missed a double pullback signal here on the Raptor. So the market moves into the cloud, comes out, produces a signal, moves into the cloud, comes out, produces a second signal. That's a double pullback signal. And we're also producing a first micro macro cross lower. All right, so the buy attempt did not have much follow through. It does look as though the sellers are pushing the market a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh gosh. I really got to go deep to get a decent entry there. I'm getting some yellow bar clusters here. I'm starting to wonder whether the market is reversing. Well, here they go. crude oil dead sideways, soybeans dead sideways. And now the NASDAQ struggling for direction. The safer entry here is below the low. Just FYI on that. All right, the signal's retreating a little bit. I'm going to close that out. Okay, the hawk now into yellow bars, so that voids our sell signal / macro pullback. Here the raptor and the eagle also showing us a retest of the low. This could be our test of the extreme. And we're starting to get that sideways range developing. Something like that. We'll see, we might get a soft edge buy signal here off of this bounce. Essentially a double bottom is what it is. Oh, there it is. There's the soft edge bounce. I'm going to buy into that. I'm going to put my stops below the low. All right, and let's see if we don't get a rally. They seem to be rejecting the bottom. Let's see if we don't get a rally now off this soft edge buy. I'll leave my break even in play, I think. Wow, it's tough this morning. They're not budging a whole lot. excuse me. So what we're looking at now is we're looking at the market retesting one more time, giving us a test of the extreme. Hopefully we'll see the market swing here and continue higher. Come on, get up there. So if we can see the market take out this little itty bitty swing high here around the 47.16 area, we should be in good shape. I'm gonna give it a go. Maybe I'll put my break even just the other side of that little swing. Okay, here they come. You can see the Geiger counter we're getting, or we were getting some buying pressure. We should see the sellers step up as we get closer to these highs. So what's this high? 47.15 3/4. So we really need to see 47.16. Come on, you guys. Don't make me get out the mouse. Don't make me use the magic mouse. Let's see here what else we got going on. Yeah, Russell says maybe we've got a rule of 3 building in the Eagle. It's possible. It would be a really quick rule of 3. Remember, anytime you have a counter trend signal, you have to have a trend preceding it. And granted, there is a little bit of a downtrend here. Certainly nothing like the uptrend preceding it. But yeah, if you saw that as a downtrend, here's signal 1, here's signal 2, and looking for the third signal, which will probably cross the clouds as well, or change your trading band. Here we go. There's 47. Did I see 15.5? There we go. 47.16. There we go. Now we got a little bit more upside momentum. I guess maybe I should have left both contracts in play. Could be at my profit objective on the first contract. So where's are the support and resistance lines? Well, we got 47.26 quarter. That seems like a plausible target. After that, 47.41 3/4. Well, that's a ways away, but we might see that as well. Note the Falcon also gave us a trend change signal. You gotta be kidding me. Here come the sellers again. Yeah, Mark says there's a lot of resistance around this 47.18 area. Definitely. You're absolutely correct, Mark. Look, we had a swing here, we had a swing here, another one here, another one here. This one was premature, but it's still in the same neighborhood, and now, of course, we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. If we can see the market trade through here to hit our break-even trigger, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a little bit more follow-through as we send some of these short-term sellers scrambling. Wow. Look at this. Dead neutral. Here we go. Come on. There we go. That's what I want to see. The buyers just pull over hard and hold the market. We can enable our break-even stop now. Okay, getting a little bit more follow through. What did I say the next target was? 47.24-ish. Oh, 26. 47.26 quarter. trying to be very patient with my stops. I'm not sure we've seen the move of the day yet. Well, I'm glad you were doing that in Sim. Tony writes, I was working in Sim on fine-tuning the double OCO on the natural gas report. Word to the wise, those orders are live. Yes, they are. They're not like the orders that we use here, excuse me, on the trade manager. Say I look to sell there and put my stops there. This order does not go live until I hit the submit button. But if you use the OCO orders, or anytime you right-click on your chart, that order is live the moment it hits your chart. Tony writes, for some reason there was a huge spike both up and down on the Geiger counter about a minute before the bottom of the hour release. Lost both on the up and down before the report was released. Some sure as heck knew what the report said before the official release. Loss was in Sim. That's good. $300 loss. That's not bad, Tony, for natural gas. Natural gas can be a wicked, wicked market, the way it can hop around. Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody was actually in the know, or whether because the report was coming out, traders just pulled their orders. And of course, if there's no order on the floor and somebody places a buy or sell order, the next order in line is going to get the fill, not necessarily the one closest to the market. For instance, let's say something terrible happened. There would be no sell orders from 47.20 all the way down to 47.14. Mine would be the first sell order. Therefore, the market could evaporate and could trip my sell order, providing, of course, there was a buyer who wanted it. About 6 months or 8 months after 9/11, we were in a trading room, and my friend was long on one of the stock indices. Don't remember which one, not that it matters. And some knucklehead flew his Cessna into the airspace over the White House. You may or may not remember that. The markets plummeted. And fortunately, my friend was in the market fairly light, but there were no orders to pick up his stop loss order. You know, his stop loss might have been sitting at 47.14. He didn't find a buyer until, you know, maybe a good 100 points lower. There's always a market maker, somebody who will make the market, but on their terms. Yeah. Tony says, it was unbelievable. I'm sure you're referring to the natural gas whipsaw. Yeah. Trading the inventory reports is fun to do in Sim, but it is really difficult to do with real money on the line. You have to be prepared. It's like going to Vegas. You have to be prepared to walk away from your bet, so to speak. Oh, after all that, they're going to come back here and tap me at break even, the stinkers. I didn't think they'd retreat that far. Oh, way to go, Tony. Tony says I took the late filter entry on crude oil. Nicely done. So trend line goes, pardon me, filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Trend line does not change color. So I took a bit of heat on it, but I got my 20 ticks. Nicely done. All right, I was lucky enough to ride out that swing. Let's see if we actually get another push out of this, or if the market's going to trade back through this low. This, by the way, is your cloud crossover signal now on the Raptor. For you Raptor traders, the cloud is crossed, the market has retreated into the cloud, and it's pushed out. This is the cloud crossover signal. That is a buy signal for you on the Raptor. Come on, get up there. You owe me one more move. Wow, they have been awfully sticky all around this 47.18 area today. That's going to be a number you're going to want to keep in mind. For the next few days, or tomorrow anyway. Probably won't have that much influence on Monday. They're going to come make another run at it. What do we have? Yeah, I figured as much. So I should have run both contracts. We would have hit our high probability profit target and at least taken some money out of this trade. Right now it looks like they are going to take another go at the support zone here and tap me out of break even. Stinkers. No follow through, really. Well, ladies and gents, I've got an appointment I need to get to a little bit early today, so we're going to shut down the trading room a few minutes earlier today. I do apologize for any inconvenience. The markets are definitely in a little bit of a sideways bent, and they do seem to be more inclined to be heading lower than higher. So you may want to favor short signals. Of course, if we get above this 47.21 area, 47.20.21 area that we got hung on last time, we should see the market continue to rally. But right now, they seem very content to go sideways. All right, I will catch you again tomorrow morning. Hopefully the markets will be a little bit more cooperative. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.